Welcome to Maths and Science series. Today we're going to do equations and inequalities, but our main focus is on inequalities. But we'll start doing equations in order for us to know how to deal or to solve inequalities equations. So we'll complete a square and do equations which require quadratic formula. Okay, then let's get started. So when you complete a square, there are several things which you need to know. So you'll be given in an equation or expression in that format ax squared plus bx plus c. So you need to change it to the form a open bracket x plus p squared plus q. So you need to change it to be like that. Let's see our first example. X squared plus 8x plus 10. All right. So what we are given here is already in a standard form. It must be kept like that all the time. So x squared plus 8x plus 10. Let me symbolize my working so we can be in the same page. All right. So x squared plus 8x. So before we can write a 10, we have this procedure which you need to follow, which is half times the coefficient of x all squared. The coefficient of x, we only work with the coefficient of x. So work what is inside the bracket before you can get your final answer. So it's over 2 all squared, remember. So we get 4 all squared, which is 16. So do that all the time. Do that working aside. So we add the 16, then we minus again the 16, and that is when we add the 10. I hope you will get it. So what do we do next? We need to simplify everything. So x plus 8x plus 16, then we use our calculator, we'll have minus 6. So what do we need to do? We need to use that last 4 or that last step when we were doing our calculations. So we take that 4 with the squared. Now we minus the 6. Right. So now we have our final answer. Bear in mind that everything is in a standard form. Now we have x squared minus 4x. So we don't have the third term, we only have x squared minus 4x. So let's complete the square. So x squared minus 4x. Then we do our working aside. So which is half multiplied by the coefficient of x, which is negative 4, then all squared. We only work with the coefficient of x only, not the coefficient of x squared, but the coefficient of x, and we take it with its sign. So just make it a fraction. So we multiply minus 4 times minus 1, minus 1, then all squared. Now let us work what is inside the bracket before we can include the squared. So we use our calculator to get positive 4. So we add that positive 4 and we minus it at the same time. So let us simplify what we have in order for us to have it in a standard form. So x, we take the last step, which is minus 2 with it squared, then we minus the last 4 in our expression. So that's our final answer. I hope you get it. Make sure that everything's in a standard form and your answer is in that form. Here's another example, example number 3. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 8. All right, so check it, it's in a standard form. So the coefficient of x is minus 6, bear in mind. So x squared, or let me symbolize it, minus 6x. So before you can write the 8, let us do the calculation aside. So I have multiplied the coefficient of x, which is minus 6. Then we put everything to that squared. So Let us make it to be in a fraction. Now we multiply what's inside the bracket before we can include the squared. Alright, so now we'll get minus 3, then put the squared. So we use our calculator to get positive 9. So we take that positive 9, we add it and we minus it again, and that is when we can add the 8. So minus 9 plus 8 all the time. Remember that. I'm glad you're getting it. So let us simplify everything. So x, we, now we take that last term with its squared. This minus 3. Now we use a calculator to get our answer, which is minus 1. So that is our final answer. You see how easy it is? Yes, I'm glad that you see it. Right, we have 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. Okay, now here we have 2 as the coefficient of x squared. It is different from the previous ones because we had 1 as the coefficient of x squared. Now we have 2 as the coefficient of x squared. Okay, now you put the 2 aside, then you divide everything by that 2. So we divide 7 by 2, get minus 7 over 2x. So that is the coefficient of x which we are dealing with. Now we divide 6 by 2, we'll get positive 3. Then we close the bracket. All the time, take the coefficient outside and you divide everything by it. Okay, now x squared minus the coefficient of x, which is 7 over 2x. Now let us do our calculation aside. So multiply by negative 7 over 2 all squared. Before we can do anything, we work what is inside the bracket, minus 7 over 4 all squared. Then we use our calculator to get 49 over 16. Now we add the 49, we minus it, then that is when we add the 3. So plus 49 over 16 minus 49 over 16. Then we add the 3, then we close the bracket. Remember that the 2 is always outside. So now we need to simplify what we have. So 2, we put the square bracket, then we take the last step, which is minus 7 over 4 with its squared. Remember that. So it is important to do the working aside. Now squared, then we use our calculator to get our answer. In negative 49 over 16 plus 3, we'll get 1 over 6, then square bracket. Okay, so what do we do next? We need to multiply that negative 1 over 16 by 2. So we write 2 outside, then we say x minus 7 over 4, then all squared. You see that? Then we multiply 2 times minus 1 over 6, which is 8 over, not 8 actually, it is 2. I made a mistake, over 16. You see that? Now let us simplify everything to get 7 over 4 all squared minus 1 over 8. So that is our answer. Great. Right, let's do our fifth one. So we have 2x squared minus 5x plus 4. Now it is the same, it is similar as that previous one. So we have 2 as the coefficient of x squared. Okay, so let me write it again. So 2x squared minus 5x plus 4. Okay, so we have our 2. We do as we did in the previous one. We take 2 outside and we divide everything by 2. So minus 5 over 2x plus 2 divided by 2. Remember that. So we write the 2 outside. As we know, we put x squared minus 5 over 2x. Now we do our working aside before we can add the 2. So half multiply the coefficient of x, not x squared, coefficient of x, which is minus 5 over 2 all squared. Work what is inside the bracket, then we can actually focus on the 2. So all squared. That then we can use our calculator to get our final answer. It is positive 25 over 16. Now we'll add that answer and minus it again, and that is when we can add the two. So plus 25 over 16 minus 25 over 16 plus 2. You see that? So now we need to simplify everything which we have. So we need to write 2 outside, then we write x, then we take that last step, which is minus 5 over 4 with it squared. Let us put the square bracket. Now we put the squared, then we use our calculator to get the answer from minus 25 over 16 plus 2. So we'll get positive 7 over 16. Now we close the bracket with the square bracket. When we close everything by the square bracket, now what do we have? We have 2x minus 5 over 4. Alright, now we will multiply everything. We multiply 2 by 7 over 16 to get 7 over 8. So that is our answer. I hope you see and you now understand it. So here we have what is known as a quadratic formula. It's written as follows. So x equal to minus b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac. Then we divide everything by 2a. Okay, so here we deal with these alphabets, or these are called coefficients. They come from these x squared plus, actually it is ax squared plus bx plus c. Now let me equate everything to 0 because we'll be given equations equated to 0. So here we deal with coefficients. So deal with alphabet A, deal with alphabet B, and that last one, which is C. So we substitute them into the equation, but we'll be given them as numbers. So remember, we substitute them as as numbers. So here's our first example. We have x squared plus 9x equal to 36. So they say leave your answer to two decimal places or in a set form. So when they say that they want you to use the quadratic formula, bear in mind. So now our equation is not in a standard form, so you need to make it to be in a standard form before you can substitute. So x squared plus 9x, now we transpose 36 becomes negative. Okay, so what do we need to do now? Everything's in a standard form. We need to take out our coefficients. Remember I said we deal with coefficients. So the coefficient of x squared, which it is a, we have 1. Coefficient of b, we have 9. And minus 36, it is our c. You see that? So before you can do anything, make it easier for you to solve, to take out those coefficients out so it can be easy. So write what the formula before you can substitute everything. Okay, so you must know it by heart. Now we divide everything by what? By 2a. So now we substitute those coefficients to the formula. So x equal to, substitute as they are. Remember, you take them out with their signs. So we have plus or minus square root 9 squared minus 4. Now we take the value of a, which it is 1. We substitute it and we take the value of c, which it is minus 36 from that formula. All right. Now we divide everything by what? By 2 is 2. That 1 there, we substitute it. Okay, so when you are here, you just use your calculator. You see that? So how do we deal with it? So we have x equal to minus 9 plus or minus square root. You use your calculator, 225, you'll get that answer. Now we divide everything by positive 2 because we'll multiply it with that one. So okay, this plus or minus tells us that we need to split this into 2. One need to be positive and one need to be negative. So this is how we do it. Minus 9 plus or minus root 225. Actually, I said we need to split it. So let's start with the positive one. Now we divide everything by what? By 2. or remember we are splitting it, so we need to have the one which is positive and the other one which is negative. Minus 225 over what? Over positive positive 2. Yes. So when you are here, you just use your calculator. When you use your calculator, you will get x equal to positive 3. You see how easy it is. So you can pause the video to get that other one. So x, it will be positive negative 12. You see that? So that's it. Everything must be in a standard form first. So here our second one, we have minus x squared equal to 2 minus 7x. So it's not in a standard form. Leave your answer to two decimal places. Okay, that tells us that we need to do what? We need to use a quadratic formula. So minus x squared, let us make it to be in a standard form, plus 7x minus 2. Remember, we transpose them, so equate to 0. Now we take what? Our coefficients. I'm glad that you got that. So b equal to 7 and minus 2, it is c. So before you can do anything, you write formula. Remember that. You write it first. You must know it by heart. I hope now you know it, right? Okay, so we divide everything by what? By 2a. You see that? Now, that is when you can take all those coefficients and substitute them to the formula. All right, so we take it as it is with its sign. So 7 squared minus 4, we substitute that value of 1, which is minus 1. Minus 2, then we divide everything by what? By 2, divide by 2, open bracket, minus 1. Now, when we are here, you just use your calculator as we did on the first example. You see that? Now, you have minus 7 plus or minus square root 41. Actually, we have plus 7, yes, over minus 2. Then what do we do now? We need to split it, remember. You need to split. So when you split, you will split it on your book. So here, when you split, you will have the answer. Use your calculator to get those answers. So x equal to, remember, we do what? We leave our answer to two decimal places. So here we have x as equal to minus 6,70, or x equal to minus 0,30. So that's it. Hope you're getting it. Right, let's go to the next one. Now we have x squared plus x plus 2 equal to 0. So when you see that statement, you must do what? You must use a quadratic formula. Yes. So now let us take out our coefficients then. Remember, we do that first before you can do something else. So we have a as what? The coefficient of x squared, which is 1. We have b as the coefficient of x, which is 1. We have c, which is 2. Now, before you can do anything, write your formula. You must know it by heart. I hope now you know it, right? Yes, that's great. We divide everything now by what? By 2a. I wanted you to tell me, so but it's fine. Okay. Now we substitute those coefficients to the formula. I hope now you get it. Alright, so you take it as it is with its sign. So we have 1 squared minus 4, open bracket, 1, close bracket, open bracket, 2. Now, let me do that. Now we divide everything by what? By 2, open bracket, 1. Now when you are here, just use your calculator. So this is different. You need to know that there are those equations which you will get syntax error in your calculators, which means no real solution. It is not that you did something wrong, it is the correct answer. So be careful, because some uses their calculator incorrectly and they get no real solution while there are solutions. So that it is. So make sure that you use your calculator correctly. Alright, the fourth one, we have 3x minus 2x, open bracket, x plus 1 equal to 2. So leave your answer to two decimal places. So do that on your own and leave your answer on the comments and I will tell you if you are correct or not. Alright. So here's our main topic. Remember that what I said when the video started. So we have two types: linear inequality, quadratic inequality. So there are symbols which you need to know. So the first one, as I indicated there, so you need to know them by heart. So I said the equal sign is not applicable on this topic. So we do not use them. We only use these symbols which are indicated there. All right, here's our first example. So x minus 5 less than 2x plus 3. You see now we are not dealing with an equal sign. So we deal with that symbol. It means what? Less than. So what we need to do here, we need to do what? We need to group the like terms. So x need to be with x and 3 need to be without 5. So this is how we are doing it. So let us group our like terms. So we have x, let me do this. Okay, we have x minus, we transpose a 2, we have minus 2x, now less than positive, we have positive 3, then we transpose the 5, it will be positive on that other side. Remember that. So when we are here, we just the grade 2 stuff. So minus x is less than what? It's less than 8. You see that? Yeah, so there's nothing new here. Just we are using this symbol, not an equal sign. So let us use an equal sign so that we can get the overall of it. So we divide everything by minus 1. Even here in inequalities, we do as we are doing if there's an equal sign. So we do the same thing. We divide by minus 1. What you do on the right hand side, we also do it on the left hand side. You see that? Here's a rule that we need to know. When we divide by a negative number or multiply with a negative number, the sign, the symbol changes its position. Okay, here's our second one. So it is 4 open bracket x minus 3 close bracket greater than or equal to 2 open bracket x minus 10. So now we need to do what? We need to make it to be in a standard form so we can do what? We can collect the like terms. So what do we do now? Multiply 4 by x and you multiply 4 by minus 3. So we'll get 4x minus, use your calculator to get minus 12 greater than or equal to 2x. Then we take that to multiply it by minus 10, which it will be minus 20. Okay, now what do? We need to group what? Our like terms. So before we can do anything, before we can get our answers or solve, we need to do what? We need to group the like terms. Minus 2x, remember jump the sign. So greater than or equal to minus 20. Now the 12 changes its sign again. It will be positive 12. So what do we do now? We simplify. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Then you put that x. Use a calculator to get what? To get minus 8 from minus 20 plus 12. So now we divide everything by 2. You see that? Divide everything by 2. Do it as if you had an equal sign. So it's the same thing. When we divide here, we'll get x greater or equal to, use your calculator to get minus 4. So the sign won't change because we didn't divide by a negative number. So when you divide by a negative number, the sign or the symbol changes its position. Bear in mind, you must know that rule. Alright then, let's go to the next one. Alright, do this on yourself, then you will send the answer on the comment so that I can tell you if you are correct. Okay, so indicate if it is inequality or something else.